I'm Mark Richardson. I'm a journalist with the Globe and Mail here in Canada, and I'm here with Fazilet Cinaralp. You're the Secretary General of the European Tire and Rubber Manufacturers Association. That makes you an important person, doesn't it?
No. Well, I'm as important as the members of my organizations are, so we have an important industry behind this organization. That's true.
Well, you better just start off by telling me a little bit about the organization so
Okay.
we know who you are. Who do you represent?
So the organization represents the European tire manufacturers and the rubber manufacturers. And in Europe, you have all the major tire manufacturers, production plants. It's around 90 tire plants across Europe. Europe
90,
is
90.
90.
Wow, that's a lot of tires.
It's a lot of sizes. It's a lot of production as well. Lots of people working in this industry. Around 200,000 people. With it's an important, actually, manufacturing and manufacturing operator contributing to the European economy as well, and to the mobility.
So
the tire industry is a big enabler of the mobility of today, and but
Sure.
also of the future.
well, we need tires to move around on.
Absolutely.
We don't all have hover vehicles yet. We're not at Star Wars yet. But
I think
tell
tire
me
will remain.
how many tires are made in Europe in a year?
In a year, around 300 million tires
300 million in Europe.
in Europe.
Do you know about the world?
The world is about 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion tires.
Yeah, yes.
Now, those tires on average would last, what, 5 years or so?
Well, depends how you drive. I'm driving quite a lot, 100 kilometers per day, which means that I may keep my tires, 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
But if you are really not using your car only for leisure, for example, during the weekends, you may keep it until
Sure.
10 years.
Well, the number that I'm thinking of now is that if we're making more than 1 billion tires around the world in 1 year, we're also getting rid of 1 billion tires
Yes.
every year. Would that be
Yes.
right?
Yes, of course.
And what
So-
happens to them? They can't all go off to children's playgrounds.
No, they cannot. I think, well, depends on the regions. In Europe, we have a very strict policy of collecting the tires at the end of their life
Yeah.
and organizing also their management. This is what is called extended producer responsibility obligations. So there is an obligation on the manufacturers to take care for the tires at the end of their life, where these tires are discarded from the garage, from the collection points, take them, organize their treatment. So there are several routes. The one natural route would be going to incineration, to cement industry, because tire is made of carbon, is a lot of oil in the end, so it's natural to use tires as a fuel, really as an alternative fuel. It's not the major route now. It's about maybe 30% of the application is in cement industry.
Okay.
Also there, when the tire is burned, you have ashes which comes down.
Yeah.
These ashes are made of sulfur, of steel, of course, of silica, so minerals. All of them so much important for the clinker, for the production of the clinker. So they are used again in making the clinker. So even by incinerating in the cement kilns, we are making some recycling operation for for every ton of tire, if you wish.
Yeah.
We have 25% of recycled material that can be used. So
In the clinker?
clinker is a cement,
Oh,
like
okay.
the base cement.
It's a kind of cement.
Exactly, this is the cement,
I
the base
see,
cement,
okay.
which needs this material anyhow. So
Right,
this is
okay.
coming from the burning and the ashes from the burning of the tires.
But it's still
That's
only a
cement.
proportion of it.
1/3, yeah. I think the proportion is, so out of the 3.3 million tons of tires end of life collected every year, 1.2 goes to cement.
Okay.
And I have to say, for every ton of tire which are burned in the cement industry, there is from the cement industry, because of the biomass content of the tire, equivalent of a 1 million ton of CO2 avoided emitted into the air. So there is also there another environmentally sustainable dimension to burning tires, especially in the cement kilns, because otherwise they will have to use fuel, which emits much more.
Okay.
Of course, much more. It's compared to pet coke.
So you're
So
saying
think
that you're
burning-
saving those emissions,
Absolutely.
removing
Avoid
those
it.
emissions from
Avoid
avoiding
it.
it.
Avoid it. Avoid
Okay.
it. So that's for cement. And then you have about 2/3 which are used in recycling applications, and there it varies from, well, you generally to recycle you need to go to granulation, so
Yeah.
size reduction, remove the textile, remove the steel, you remain with the rubber part. And there you go to size reduction, which is granulation. And there you can go for molded products, objects, and there are lots of molded objects around us in the outside. I think it's very common. Use it as synthetic turf applications, especially in sport field. I think that's very common. Some asphalt, but very minor in Europe. In Europe, we don't have much application. There is still a lot of resistance from, I think, maybe the economic operators. It's not an option that they...
Why do they not want it?
Difficult to understand. I think technology-wise is not an issue, but politically there is still... I don't think it makes maybe... It's difficult to understand from our European perspective. We'd like to learn more from the US, for example, how they do so well in using, in fact, rubber in asphalt rubber. It's a very established practice.
Well, you've said yourself, and I'll just quote you here, talking about the end-use applications for waste tires, you said that about 75% of them are ground up, they're granulated, but you said that, and this is more than 1 million tons of tires, right?
Yes, yes.
You said it still remains a challenge. What do you mean by that?
I think resources, so the real challenge we have in our economy is the fact that we do not have infinite resources. So resources we have are limited because we have more needs than nature can produce. And to produce tires, we use the best of the raw materials, really the best of them, because tire has to deliver very high performance, very precise performance. So usually whatever is used, it is the best of the category of those raw materials, chemicals, natural, steel, textile, whatever it is. But then, at the end of the life, this material is still good. Yes, the tire has come to the end of its life, but the material is good. And I think we haven't yet overcome the challenge of being able to use this material in really high quality recycled product. Maybe, and ideally, to bring it back in the tires, which today is still a major challenge because there is, when you cook a cake, you put the flour, you put water, you put your vanilla, you put your sugar, mix them up, you go to the oven, everything is cooked. When you want to disassemble all of these individual ingredients, you cannot.
That's true.
Same for tire, because this rubber that is vulcanized, which is cooked, cannot come separate the different molecules without breaking. And when you break, you don't have the same quality of the raw material. So technology-wise, we have we need a real breakthrough to be able to bring back to its original state the materials that have been used, to be able to use them again in very high quality products. Tire, for example, bring it back to tires would be the dream on which everybody is working, but today nobody has yet the recipe how to do it.
So at the moment then, if you have a tire being recycled, about how much of that tire can really be recycled and how much is still waste?
Frankly speaking, the tire can be recyclable if we had the market 100% can be recycled, but it's a matter really of end-use market. Where do we use that? Where do we use that? Because the material is good for a number of applications, but what we are now looking for is to bring the level of this purification of the material, secondary raw material, to a level that it can be used in a more demanding applications. For sure, if we were able to use them, for example, in the vehicle, and vehicle industry is very much looking for reusable materials. They have very strict requests and criteria. I think if the industry and if this raw material could indeed make the way to qualify for an original equipment application on the vehicle, that would be great. But we are not there yet. So we are working on that, but we are not there yet to be able to make it yet. So everything can be recycled.
What's it going to take to be there?
I think research is going on. Collective research is needed. It's not easy to make the tire industry work together because there is so much of technology dimension on proprietary technology. It's not easy to make them work together.
Very competitive too.
Very competitive. Very, very competitive.
Right.
So I think it's not, but we need to continue working and so bring in research, finance, innovation, and it's, as I said, we need to continue innovating, and we don't have many choices. Either it's the material or it's the design. So, and these are the two areas where we need to continue innovating. And I'm sure it will happen that we will be able to use back this material back in the tires as well, and other applications, but high quality, like I said, vehicle applications, for example, that would be great.
Well, we hear fairly regularly about new innovations with tire technology. There was a tire just introduced here yesterday, I think it was, right? It's a connected tire, it's puncture proof, all of this stuff. That's kind of sexy, if you can make a tire sexy. But you never hear about the tires at the end of the time, once they're washed up and gone. And I still remember there was a tire fire on the Niagara Peninsula, the famous Hagersfield tire fire, and it went for years. It burned and burned. Nobody could put it out.
No,
Tires are a toxic thing, right?
tires are not toxic when they are used properly for what they are.
Right,
So-
but when they're burned, the black smoke is very
The
toxic.
burning of a tire doesn't happen by accident. You have to put the fire
In
on.
this case.
You have to put the fire on. So I think, and it's true that when it's like oil, you never extinguish the fire of an oil because it has to go until the end. Tire the same. It has to go until you cannot stop it burning. But it doesn't start ignite by itself. There is need for a genuine, deliberate action to ignite. In Europe, we have gone away from these practices. Tires really are, as I said, there are 3.6, 3.7 million tires which are collected every year.
Mhm.
Tons, 3.5 million tons.
a lot of
It's a lot
tires.
of tires which are collected. Out of these, a portion, around 10 to 15%, may be reused again as second-hand tires, for example. So they are not necessarily waste tires. And then you have those really end-of-life, what we call the waste tires, which are then treated, organized in a way to be still not to damage the environment, but to be economically viable as solutions. And I think the tire industry is also bringing its support to further research what are those new valorization routes that could be end-use markets that could be identified. So it's a challenge, but it's a challenge which is under steering. It is managed challenge, I would say. For us, the real issue is to find new markets, but more demanding quality markets.
Are you optimistic about this?
Yes, I am.
But you don't know what those markets are yet.
I think I've told you at least two of these markets. So bring back in the tire is one.
Mhm.
And the second is use it for automotive applications.
Right?
These are great markets.
But they're not doing that yet.
Not yet.
But we're close. Can see the light at the end of the tunnel?
We are close. I want to believe that we are close. I think it will happen. Everybody is working on that, so it will happen.
Are we 5 years close?
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah.
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should hold
Yeah.
you to that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. We'll have this
Yes.
chat again in 5 years, right?
Yes. I think it will happen because there is so much of investment into this area that I believe it will happen.
Right. Well, there are some interesting changes going on with tires.
Yes.
Can you see that in 10 years' time we'll no longer have flat tires?
I think that's a big debate. And what I saw yesterday was the new innovation presented by Michelin and the Movin'On Summit is also another sign of the fact that industry is really continues to be motivated by new technologies, new design, new materials. This is new design. I always known pneumatic tire. This is a tire which is not pneumatic anymore.
That's right.
It will bring new challenges as well because I think it will,
Right.
it will bring some new challenges. Extended mobility is one of the area where the vehicle manufacturers are putting lots of indeed pressure on the tire manufacturers so that they can go away from the fifth tire, the spare tire, but at the same time having the tire lasting
Right.
indeed longer distances.
So
But there are maybe there are some unwanted side effects to that as well because recycling. I think you can recycle tires with today's composition. We know what enters into there. If there are new products, new chemicals which are entering, which make maybe recycling more difficult, maybe there is also need to look at ways how to recycle then with newer material because there will be probably newer material in play as
Sure.
well.
we'll have this chat again soon, and you can tell me just what's changed by then.
All
I'm
right.
looking forward to it.
I look forward to it. Thank you very
Fazilet,
much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.